Hey guys, this is Ashish Goyal, and today what I wanted to do was just go through the American Board of Pediatrics online tutorial for the test platform that you're going to be using when you actually take the exam. Okay, so this is something that you can access from an article that I have on the Pediatrics Board Review website. You can simply go to pediatricsboardreview.com/exam day with no spaces, no dashes, nothing, and it will take you over to this particular article, okay? And in this article, it's just a ton of great information, I think, for anybody taking the exam, whether it's the American Board of Pediatrics initial certification exam, the American Board of Pediatrics MOC recertification exam, and even if you're taking any other exam, any other medical board exam, I just think that there's some great nuggets of information in here that will help you understand how to approach exam day. Okay, so I highly recommend that you take the time to go through this article. Okay, so all you have to do is go to pediatricsboardreview.com/exam day. And this particular article, like I said, it covers more information about the initial certification exam, the ins and outs of test day, the initial certification exam structure in terms of approximately how many questions you're going to come across, and that's in the 330 something range. How many sections there are going to be? It's going to be about 4. The reason this is really important is because I don't think the ABP has changed this, but there is this online tutorial that the American Board of Pediatrics has, and if you look down here at the link, what it says is prometric.com / a whole bunch of stuff, and it's ABP / tutorials, basic tutorial index, right? So they pretty much just give out this link for you to understand what the exam is going to kind of look like. But unfortunately, what they do is they come up with this page, and then when you click on this particular link, click here to begin, you get super confused because, Ashish is talking about 4 different blocks, lots of questions, 300 and something, and just, in terms of the time for each block, it's all different. And the reason that this happens is because this particular tutorial, even though all the information after you hit start is pretty much the same between the initial certification exam and the recertification exam, this information right here is for the MOC exam. So it's actually for the recertification exam. So that's the one thing that I want you to know is that as you go through the tutorial, ignore this if you are taking the initial certification exam. If you are taking the recertification exam, awesome, then this information applies to you. Okay, we'll get back to this in just a minute. So that's accessible also from this article. Based on some very easy math, you're going to be doing about 83 to 84 questions per block. Each block is going to be 1 hour and 45 minutes for the initial certification exam, and then working backwards, what that means is you're going to have about 1 minute and 15 seconds to work on each question. And if you break that down even further, what it means is that it just depends on how you want to break this up, but if you do the math, this is approximately 25 questions per 30 minutes. I think it actually works out to about 24 questions per minute. So do the math yourself, just make sure it's correct. But I think it's actually about 24 questions per 30 minutes. So that means that, at every 15-minute mark, you should be finishing up on the multiple of 12, right? So 12, 24, 36, 48 by the end of the first hour. Okay. What else? This just takes you to the tutorial again. This also takes you to the tutorial. Some really important things that you can do to save yourself some time, to get through the day a little bit faster, to keep as much energy available for the exam as possible, as opposed to actually wasting time and energy on reading things that you don't need to, reading things that you could have become familiar with prior to the exam, include making sure that you go through this demo. So that's number one, make sure you go through the demo. Make sure that you read everything that's given to you by the American Board of Pediatrics in terms of, I think they may have something that talks about what the rules are, what you're allowed to do in the exam, what you're not allowed to do in the exam. We'll go through this demo in a minute, and it might be in there. But my point is, if there's additional information that you can become familiar with now, become familiar with that information now, and review it again a day or two before the exam so that you're very, very comfortable with it. And by doing that, what you'll be able to do is when you're ready, you get to the exam, you sit down, and you just kind of crank through the tutorial within a matter of a few minutes, and then you go ahead and get your test day started, okay? Enter the exam in test mode and get into the test as soon as possible, okay? So that'll allow you to go ahead and skip the introduction and the honor code and the tutorial and all this stuff. So it's an additional 15 minutes that you just don't have to worry about. The other thing that I would say is, if you end up finishing your exam early, or you end up finishing your block early and you want a little bit of a longer break, just sit there, hang out. Because I believe that if you end up closing out that block, then as soon as you close it out, you're going to have a 15-minute break. Just because you end up closing out a block early at, let's say, 1 hour and 30 minutes, I don't think that additional 15 minutes gets added onto your break, okay? So it's going to start without you, so make sure you come back within 15 minutes. And if you feel like you just want a little bit of extra time just to kind of sit there, detox, veg, stretch, meditate, do whatever it is that you need to get yourself prepared for the next block, then as you finish up early, just hang out and let the block run out of time. And then as soon as it runs out, then go ahead and exit the room, okay? After that, you'll have your second block, then you'll have a break, then you'll have another exam block, then you'll have another break, and then you have your last block, okay? And then there'll be an optional survey at the end, which I tend to skip. All right, so that's kind of a summary of what is on the exam day article, which once again you can go to at any time if you start to wonder again, how many questions are there per block, how many questions are there approximately for the entire exam, how many breaks are there, how long is each break for the initial certification exam. Just go to pediatricsboardreview.com/exam day. All right, now let's go through the tutorial. So if you, I'm pretty sure I have a shortcut. It might be pediatricsboardreview.com/ABP tutorial. I'm not really sure, but either way, if you go to the exam day post and click on the tutorial, you'll end up over here. And what you'll see is that there's this button that says click here to begin. You click on it and it gives you this little bitty screen, which I don't really like. And then you click on start, and it gives you another little bitty screen. So one of the things that I would say is, just so you feel more comfortable, is you can take this link right here, copy it, close that particular window, and then just open up a new tab and paste the link over here so that now you have a nice big window to work off of, because you're going to have a full screen when you actually take the boards. So you may as well have a full screen here. Okay, go ahead and read the entire honor code, and basically it says that you're not allowed to reproduce the material from the boards. And so what that means is you can't afterwards go and start, writing down like every single question and all the answers and start sharing those with all your friends and other stuff. What you can do is talk about topics that were on the boards and really challenging concepts, but that's really about it. Okay, and it also says that you're not going to cheat while you're there. Go ahead and hit on yes, I agree. Next. The other thing I want you to take a look at is these little underlines. I'm not really sure if they mention it over here anywhere, but if it has a letter that is underlined, what that means, I'm currently working off of a Mac. I'm not working off of a PC. These are shortcuts for PCs. When you take the exam at a Prometric testing center, you will be working off of PCs. The way that you can use shortcuts to increase your efficiency would be by using some of these different letters that they have underlined. So for example, the underlined N means that you can hit Alt N and that will take you to the next question. And I believe if you want to go backwards, it's Alt V. I'm not sure, but we will get there in the tutorial. Okay, so here's a tutorial. We're going to go ahead and skip here. The H is, so it's Alt P. So basically it's Alt N for the next question, Alt P if you want to go backwards. And so instead of reaching for the mouse and scrolling over here, if you tend to be more of a shortcut person on the keyboard, then you can use some of these shortcuts to navigate the exam and move forward. Unfortunately, I don't believe that they have a shortcut for you to select an answer, although I would try it. when you get to the exam, or if you have a PC at home and you want to try it when you get to some of these sample questions, try typing in A, B, C, D, and see if the little radio button ends up changing from A to B to C to D. If it does, then you can pretty much navigate this entire exam without lifting up your hand to go to the mouse and scroll around. You can just use the shortcuts on the keyboard. I'm a very, very big shortcuts guy. I tend to find that I'm much more efficient and faster when I do that, but if that's just not you, that's fine. Just stick to the mouse. Okay. Navigating through the exam, you can go previous, you can go next, you can do Alt-P, Alt-N. If you need a calculator, this is pretty much available everywhere. I strongly recommend that you never, ever, ever do math in your head on an exam. Okay, just do not do it. I have messed this up, and I have actually made errors in very, very simple calculations on the exam or when I'm doing practice tests, and it's just not worth it, because there are some questions that are so quick and easy, and you just have to do a little bit of math to get them right. And there's other ones that are long, and they're going to eat into more than just a minute and 15 seconds. And you don't want to mess it all up because you got the number wrong, which you could have used the calculator on. Okay, and it's also possible that on the calculator you can type in numbers on your screen, and some of this stuff is going to pop up. Once again, I'm working off of a Mac, not a PC, so I'm not exactly sure if that's going to be available to you. But if you're on a PC, go ahead and give that a shot. Otherwise, you can just use the mouse to figure out whatever you need to. Okay. Highlighting text. So this is pretty cool. I'm not sure if this was available when I took the boards or not, but you can actually highlight text. So in the test taking strategies course and the coaching course, we talk about doing a lot of different things. And one of the things that you have to do within vignettes, within a vignette-based question within a VBQ, is you have to try to extract information. Okay, and you put that information in 4 different quadrants. And in one of those quadrants, you're really talking about what the most important clinical issues are to you as a physician, and you want to make sure that that is top of mind as you're going through the answer choices, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So one of the questions that oftentimes comes up during the test taking strategies and coaching course is, well, do I have to do all of this stuff on paper? And my answer is you don't have to, but initially you should, until you're 100% familiar with the system and you're using it and it's increasing the percentage of questions that you're getting right. You absolutely should. After that, you can start to strip things away. Once you have the mental algorithms and you have the structure in your head, then you can start to strip certain things away one at a time, and then try that on 10, 15, 25, 50 questions. And if it's working well, then strip something else away, and then strip something else away. And it's possible that you might get so good that you only have to write down a few different things. But the cool thing is over here that you can actually highlight. Okay, so for example, if we're talking about the most important clinical issue or issues, usually it's going to be 1 or 2 really important things. Maybe if you become such a test-taking ninja that you're able to do a ton of this stuff in your head, and you only have to write down a few things, but maybe you still forget to incorporate the important clinical issue into your thinking as you're starting to look at the answer choices, then maybe what you can do is just take the highlighter and just highlight a little bit. And what this is demonstrating is it's showing you the left button over here. So what you would do is you would highlight. Well, you can't do it over here because it's an image, but you basically highlight the words within the vignette, you highlight with your cursor first, and you do that while you have the left button on the mouse pushed down, and then after that, this little button is going to pop up, and you click that, and it'll go ahead and highlight. So if you wanted to highlight 2 sections, you would push the button down, highlight this area right here, let's say during this examination, and then you click on the little highlight button. And then if you also wanted to highlight a few words over here, you would push the button down, highlight, and then click that little button. What I would do is practice that. So as you go through the tutorial on your PC, go ahead and practice that. Okay, so that's really cool. It's a neat way to go ahead and highlight some really, really important information. One of the other things that you could do, let's take a look if I can. Let me see here. So you can also just practice this a little bit if you want to see how it feels by finding some questions maybe online and copying them and pasting them into a Microsoft Word document, and then setting up your shortcuts within Microsoft Word to just use some keyboard shortcuts where when you highlight something and you use a keyboard shortcut, it highlights a specific amount of text, and just see if it tends to help you out. So that's just a little added option for you. I think that's a lot of work, and I don't think a lot of people are going to do it, but that's another option for you to try it out at home if you want to try it out on more than just 4 or 5 questions within this tutorial, because that's all you have the opportunity to do over here. Okay, let's go on to the next slide. Now this is really cool, and I don't believe this was available to me when I took the exam, but you can also strike things out. This is critical, and if you're a part of the test taking strategies and coaching course, if you're a member of that course, then you know why this is absolutely critical. And the really cool thing is that you can just, I think you right click. So you hover over this and then you right click and it'll probably strike it out. And you hover over here and then you right click and it'll strike it out. So that is amazing. It's phenomenal. I'm so glad that they have this as an option. And then to get rid of the strikeout, you probably just right click again on the text over here. If you click over here, you're actually going to select it as an answer. So just make sure you're hovering over the actual text. Okay. Hotkeys. Okay, so here we go. Let's talk about hotkeys over here. So Alt-P and Alt-N. So that's what it means over here. So this is Alt-P, Alt-N. If you want to hold a question, it's Alt-H. If you want to end the tutorial, Alt-E. They don't have a hotkey available for the table, but at least over here, these are 4 different hotkeys that you can use. All right, what else? The calculator is right here. If there is a figure associated with a question, you're going to see this yellow button over here. You just click on it, and after you're done looking at this, you go ahead and click Return to Examination. I don't get the impression that you can actually zoom in or zoom out or manipulate this in any way, but you will get a little pop-up, and then you can either click on Return to Examination, which does not work on this particular tutorial, or you can click on the X. Okay. Okay, so on the real exam, it looks like you should be able to go ahead and drag the corner over here and make it bigger. On the tutorial, it's the function doesn't seem to work. And if there's a question that's really, really long, you're going to see a scroll bar on the side. So just make sure you grab that scroll bar and go down. Or the other thing you could probably do is just click in the middle of the page and push the down arrows on your keyboard, and that will go ahead and scroll down as well. Okay. This is also critical. If you're going to be guessing on a question and you want to come back to it later, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. For me personally, being able to go ahead and just get past a question and mark it as a held question is huge, because it's one more process to help me get past this particular question. And it allows me to reset and then move on to the next question. And by pressing that hold button, I'm saying, okay, that's fine. I've done everything that I can to process this particular question. I've gone through my different algorithms. I've extracted the information that I want. I've narrowed it down to 2 choices. I think this one's better than the other, but I need to think about it a little bit more, and I'll come back to it if I can. But at this point, I've spent too much time on this particular question. So I'm going to press hold, and that's my little reset button. And now it's time to move on to the next question. So Alt-H allows you to do that. And make sure that you answer every single question, even if you have no idea, even if you get to a question that's like massive and you don't want to answer it because you're running out of time and you want to see if there's shorter questions further down the line. Just answer A and click hold, and then you can come back to it later on if you end up finding that you have a little bit of time. But do not leave any questions unanswered on the exam. Okay, so I'm going to mark this one as a hold. And what's going to happen at the end of the exam is that you're going to end up with a little table like this, and it'll let you know, which questions have been held, which questions are incomplete, which questions are complete. Hopefully all of yours will be complete. You will have nothing in the incomplete column, and you'll probably have some questions that are held. And then at the end of the exam, when you're done, you'll be able to specify whether or not you want to review all of them and go through them one by one, which I can't imagine any of you would really want to do, unless you're just a superstar and you finish the exam with 30 minutes left or something. If you just want to review which ones are held, or do you want to review which ones are incomplete? If you have incompletes, you need to go over there and select an answer first. Just pick your favorite letter, whether it's A, B, C, D, or E, and just put the same letter for all of them, and then move on and go back to the ones that are held, because those are the ones that it sounds like you held, because you have some potential to come back and modify those answers. Okay. These are sample questions. We're not going to actually, this basically says this is not going to affect your exam score. And you should also know that as you go through them, you're actually not going to get the answers. Okay. So when it comes to an actual answer over here, you can try selecting a letter. On my keyboard, it's not working. If I wanted to take a look at a calculator over here, I could do this, table over here. The table over here does not give you lab values with reference ranges, so just keep that in mind. If you're going to be given abnormal lab value reference ranges, it looks like it will simply be within the actual vignette area. And from here, you can skip a question, you can mark it. So let's do this, and if I wanted to go ahead and hold this, I could. And for this, if I just wanted to skip it, I can, just to show you what the incomplete looks like. And if I just wanted to start, actually, I should have taken a look at the image, but you guys have already kind of seen what that looks like. And over here, it looks like the time wasn't really moving, and it's not giving me the option over here to see what was held, what was incomplete. Basically, it was a tutorial that just allowed me to kind of go through it and click on some stuff. What else? If I hit review incomplete, nothing happens. If I hit review held, nothing really happens. But this is the interface. This is what it looks like. This is what you're going to experience on the actual exam. If you have any questions about this, you know how to get a hold of me. Just go over to pediatricsboardreview.com/contact and fill in the form. And either I or someone from Team PBR will get back to you with our answer. And hopefully this helps you out. If you have any feedback, if you have any additional insights that we might be able to share with the rest of the PBR community, I would love to hear about them. All right. Thanks, guys, for watching this video. And once again, if you have any questions, just head on over to pediatricsboardreview.com/contact, and I would be more than happy to help you out.